everyone, and welcome to What's New in Revit 2023. My name is Juliana, and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD. And today's presenter is Sandra Volgemuth, our applications engineer. For this webinar, we will be sharing new comments, new features, and exciting news for the MEP industry with this new release. Throughout the webinar, you can ask a question at any given point on the left-hand corner. You can ask Sandra to revisit a step or ask any questions. This is your time, and we want you to make the most of it. And in the upper left-hand corner, you will find links to our social media and website. Also, make sure to check our YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end, so you can share with colleagues or rewatch it on your own time. And without further ado, we'll pass it on to Sandra.
Hello everybody, how are you doing? While I start sharing my screen, let me introduce myself. My name is Sandra Volgemuth. I have been a Revit person since the year 2005, and I was anointed or appointed as a Revit evangelist by our Autodesk representative back in the day. As a Revit evangelist, basically my task has been to preach the word of Revit throughout the years. I was part of the beta testers for the software that now we know as Revit MEP. Back then it was called Revit Systems. In my career, when I have not been with an Autodesk reseller, for 7 years I was the BIM-CAD manager in an MEP firm, and I played for a long time with engineers. So I'm the MEP industry is really close and dear to my heart. So we're all talking the same language. Welcome to this webinar today, where we're going to see this beautiful new release that just came out called Revit 2023. In the next slide, you are going to see the key themes that drove this release. We have seen improvements in design productivity, simulation and analysis, interoperability, cloud and data, design optimization, and documentation efficiency. Incredible release, huge amount of changes. Just to give you a little bit of an oversight, I mean, we are not going to see all of them, but my next 3 slides contain all the changes that happened in this release. So, I mean, to make a very long story short, this release has over 70 new features or changes to existing features. 50% of those happened because of user input. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Autodesk listens. Surprise, surprise. Autodesk does listen to the end users. How can you make your voice be heard? There is a website called AUGI, AUGI, Autodesk Users Group International. You can become members of AUGI, and then you can vote. And this release, as I said, 50% of this release is user driven. So let's dive into it, and I am going to be jumping a little bit between the software and my Revit interface. So the first thing that I'm going to mention is that there is a new icon in your project browser. So let me jump to my Revit interface. Sorry. Let me select Revit here real fast. And now you see my Revit interface, and if you see in the project browser, there are these funky looking square thingies in front of my views. And some of those square icons are filled out with a blue filling. And that blue filling, what it is telling me is that those views are loaded onto sheets, which I found was very, very, very incredibly useful, because usually you don't, I mean, you need to select the view and figure out if they are on a sheet. You need to scroll down here, so it becomes so much more visually easy to find. If you don't want to see them in the project browser and the views, you can right click, and this is where those icons get turned on. Show view placement on sheet status icon. That is what it is. I leave them on because the minute I saw them, I was like, yay, me like useful stuff. Next, and this is straight to and for MEP. It is huge. It is very, very, very cool. Let me just grab this air terminal schedule and remove it from this. No, let me leave it on the sheet. Let me show you something new that they added to my schedules. Now, component schedules can be filtered by sheet in your schedule properties. Do you see this new line? This was existing only for Keynote schedules. Now it is available for components. So I'm not going to filter right now, and I'm going to show you the sheet where this guy is loaded on. I know it's loaded because it's telling me that it is on a floor plan view, on a view, and it's on this floor plan view. And that is the extents. Actually, I don't need these guys here. I will need them later on. Sorry about that. This is my air terminal schedule for the whole project. Actually, not for the whole project, just for the level 1. Notice that it's just for the first floor, and it's calling out for all the diffusers that are in that level 1. If I go back and go to my schedule view, and I go to the filter, and I go, let me cancel out of here and let me tile the view so that you can see it nice and clearly. If I go to my filter and I go filter by sheet, boom. Now I only see the diffusers that are on the sheet. The way you saw it when you came in, I had just, and this I hope is common knowledge to all of you guys, is that you can break up the sheet, the schedule inside the sheet. To me, that was huge. So many times I have needed to do this. Next has to do also, my next item that I want to talk about has to do also with schedules and the way they look. As of now, I was able to add conditional formatting to rooms, but not to certain categories. As of this release, I can add conditional formatting to categories. So in this schedule view, if I go to sorting and grouping, if I go to formatting, and right now I have this family formatted by type. And notice that now, either by family or by type, I have a conditional formatting box available. And I have it formatted by type. Where is it useful. I can highlight with different colors how, I mean, I decided that I wanted to highlight my return diffusers. So here are my return diffusers. I could highlight whatever family, whatever I need to make sure that I can separate them, clarify them, make them more visible in my views. I can now add a conditional formatting for family or for type or for family and type. And they can be configured independently. Next item that I want to show you. Huge. I don't know if you ever fell into an issue that used to happen to me a lot, which is organizing my print sets, printing out of Revit without having a PDF writer in my computer. Impossible, right? You had to have Revit, you had to have a PDF writer. So as of the release 2022, you can go to your file export command and you can export to PDF. But you cannot only export to PDF within Revit. Now you can change the print order of your PDFs, which is huge, humongous. We always had to make the print set, and then if they wanted, I mean, it did not matter how many subcategories and how organized I had my project browser and my filters and my organization of the print set. This is something that is just available now. Where is it available from? I can set a print setup, right? So I can choose whatever sheets I want to print. So I'm going to print all my mechanical and all my plumbing sheets. This is the order in which they're coming out right now. But the minute I have a print set up, I can edit the print order. And I can drag and drop. So if I want the whole if I want to push up the whole plumbing package in my print set before the mechanical package, that's the way I do it. Okay, I set this here in the print order as manual. I organize my print order. I click OK. And then I can select this, right? And I can send it out to print, and it will print in that order. Okay, if I click export here, just bear with me 1 second. We have time to show you, to confirm to you that it does print in this order as I'm telling you. So if I go to if I go to my documents dialog box and I open my PDF and let me drag it out to you. A lot of empty sheets, but notice that all my plumbing plans are before my mechanical plans as I had defined. Super. Moving on. Sorry, I did something. Okay. Just give me 1 second. this here. So I am sorry for this. I was messing with my screens. Didn't mean to do that. Cool. Let me go back to where I'm supposed to be. Revit interface. Beautiful. So, sorry about that. Back to real life. Next, and this is also very, very, very cool. If I change my view, let's come here to my plumbing floor plan, and notice that my plumbing floor plan is calling out to be plumbing first floor plan B, but the viewport that is loaded does not correspond to the proper floor plan. And nowadays, in olden times, you had to either select the viewport, delete it, and then go and drop the other view. In more times, you can select the viewport and you have this new location here on the ribbon that allows you to swap the view that is on the sheet. So I'm going to change this for the proper view that should be there, which is the plumbing plan B. And notice that all the views that are already loaded onto a sheet have these parentheses. So I'm going to swap that view for this view. And let me just make sure that, my bad, my view is not cropped. And this should have been a smaller crop. Right? And that is the view on my sheet. That is swapping views on a sheet. Next of the new features. In 3D, now I have the measure between two references tool available, which makes my conversations with the clients so much more agile. And I can give this distance, or I can force a perpendicular measurement by selecting my first instance, and then I can force perpendicular, and it will find the perpendicular point of that distance and give me in my options bar my distance. Brand new. Another thing that I can do in 3D nowadays is that for clarity of my view, I can displace elements, and I can not only displace elements, I can tag the displaced elements. So let me start by tagging this water closet here. Right? And let me select the water closet, and then you have the option here to displace the element if you want to show the real connections down here. It helps you in the presentation of your views. Obviously the tag moves with, and obviously you will have to change a little bit the location of the tag so that it's all readable. But you can now tag your displaced elements, and it doesn't matter if you tag them when you created the view or after displacing the view. So bottom line of this enhancement, it just helps you have better visibility in your views. It all boils down to that. Next item, let me show you tags. So if you didn't catch on to the 2022 release, that tags now have the option to have multiple hosts, right? So I can tag this lab here. And if I wanted to get away with this one tag for all the laboratories in this location, I can add or remove hosts by clicking on similar hosts all the way. And in 2023, now we can merge the leaders. And there is a whole bunch of different options for my leaders. Okay? Making life easier and making it possible that my elements look better presented. There is improvements in the elevation parameters. In the pipes themselves, if I select this sloped pipe here, notice that the pipes right now give me the option to account for upper and top elevation, the bottom elevation, the center line, upper and lower elevation, and it allows me to account also for the lower end of the invert elevations. Not only that, my spot elevations now have the option for the elevation base. In former releases, I only had the project base point or the survey point. Now I have this relative option also. So again, more options to set more, to be more accurate in the depiction of my models. Next, this was very exciting for me, extremely exciting. Let me go to the mechanical plan view and let me select one of the mechanical equipment and go to the family editor. If you have created families like this on your own at any given time, you know that up to this release, if this connector needed to be moved or changed in any which way, the only way to do that was to delete the guy and create a new one. And then everything that you had set up already here in terms of its properties and parameters would be lost. Notice that as of 2023, you can pick a new host and you can select anywhere, either from a face or a work plane, and you can place it anywhere else in your family. Huge. If you have done MEP families with connectors, believe you me, I saw this improvement and I jumped. It was happy, happy, joy, joy. The next improvement that there is that we have added systems families. And again, I know this is user driven because I am one of the people that wanted this to happen. How annoying has it been up to this release that all your plumbing equipment had to be cataloged as mechanical equipment? And then you had to create filters if you had the combined model. And then it was, at the end of the game, it ended up being a pain in the Watusi. Notice, 2023. Plumbing equipment, new category, brand new category. Also, who has suffered doing mechanical, trying to place your thermostats, your CO2 sensors, and all those elements that are kind of created as electrical devices or fire protection devices, but are not really. They are now They have their own category, and off or gone are the days where I had to look for my thermostats and my CO2 sensors and my humidistats somewhere in Timbuktu through this command here. This made me so happy. You cannot imagine. I mean, that was to me huge, huge. Next, this is a interoperability in just basic operation of Revit in a 3D view up until this release. The minute you would do a big window selection like this one here, visibility of your elements would become completely befuddled because you would get all these little icons. A bunch of little icons there. They don't appear anymore. Okay? If this is a worksheet model, if this were a worksheet model, which it isn't, you would have also the icons that tell you to what worksheet the elements belong. In this release, in a worksheet model, you will get in the ribbon an added button that allows you to activate a given worksheet. Um, my electrical people. We never forget about the electrical people. Very important for our electrical people. Up until now, there was no way of doing any prelim load analysis for electrical and Revit unless you had some equipment placed. As of this release, if I go here and I turn my systems browser, you have the option to create an analytical power distribution system. If I go to the analysis tab, notice that you have electrical analysis tools that allow you to create an area-based load boundary, which allows you to, if you have worked with zones in HVAC, it's very similar to the zones in HVAC, but for electrical. So it allows you to create an area, and then it allows you to create loads for that area, and then it allows you to create equipment loads. Okay, brand new. Really, I have talked about this with a couple of electrical engineers, and they are very excited. I know that they were looking for this feature for a long time. Next, if you have done any demolition in Revit, you know how annoying it can be. Annoying in what sense? It used to be that if you had and let me show you this in the 3D HVAC view. Let me make all these guys. No, sorry. Let me recreate this here. So, let's not demolish them right now. So, this is the case scenario. I have ductwork, right? This ductwork was existing. I want to replace it. Up until this point, to replace this branch of duct, I would have to select it, right? I would come here, if it was existing, I would come here and choose demolish. And the minute I would choose demolish, a couple of horrible things would happen. A, I would get the dialog box that would tell me that elements would be disconnected. B, once elements were disconnected, my duct system, my ducts would lose the system and they would lose the connection. So Notice what happens now in Revit 2023. Ready to be thrilled and excited? Check this out. I select the duct and it has a duct system. It did not lose the system. B, let me drag it. It's still connected. All of it, it's still connected. It is demolished and it is connected. And to me, that was so huge. So huge. It's not even funny. Next, back to electrical. We're going to get electrocuted. My panels have a circuit number parameter now, which is telling me that who is feeding them and on what circuit it is being fed from. Okay, that is short but really cool item, makes electrical and that parameter can be used not only in the properties palette, but because it's in the properties palette, you can use it also in the panel schedule for that. I'm not going to go through the whole process of creating the panel, the schedule for that guy now, but it will be listed in the panel schedule, and it will be also available for electrical equipment tagging. Last but not least, this is something that has annoyed a couple of us for a while, and it's these type of families, like the sensors, they have an annotation family, which is the M attached to them. And they would look okay in floor plans, and they would be upside down in reflected ceiling plans. As of this version, they will show up properly both in floor plans as in reflected ceiling plans. They don't change the direction. Huge, huge. Cannot imagine how many electrical people were annoyed with me because this symbol would show up upside down in coordination views, and it would look different from the floor plan view than from the reflected ceiling plan coordination views. And it's like you sit there and you go, yeah, it is what it is, you know? Last but not least, it has to do also with annotation symbols that are attached to families. When outlets like this, usually we like to mirror them. But if I mirror them, they used to come backwards. And if you didn't, I mean, if you need to come from former releases of Revit to understand how annoying this was, because the black would be down here at the bottom, and it was like, I cannot mirror elements like this. I have to replace them instead of mirroring them, which is sometimes mirroring elements is a save of time. So all these are time savers. And with that said, I am done with my presentation. I am going to open up the floor for questions.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for that wonderful presentation. And as she just said, you can ask a question on the left-hand corner. Let me see if we have any. Okay, so as a reminder for everybody, you can always, if you want to learn these topics in detail, you can always take a custom training with Sandra or someone else on our team. We also offer group classes online. So be sure to be checking the MicroCAD website for future webinars. And that concluded our webinar today. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. And thank you, Sandra. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.